What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Alex. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. And we're here to talk about the Jinnkidd situation. We're going to talk about the Dalvin Cook situation. We're going to talk about the Tyga situation. We're going to talk about toxic relationships again. Okay, I talked about toxic relationships a little bit before when I talked about Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie. Then I talked about it some more when I replied to Six the Goddess and her idea that men should be checking women like they're kids. And I keep telling you guys repeatedly, you cannot base relationships on love. Love is not enough. Even if you guys watch Divorce Court, they tell you that. If you watch Ayanna Vasquez, she tells you that. Love is not enough. Relationships are supposed to be about business. Now, we used to always understand that until nowadays, okay? Back in the day, they had arranged marriages. The women would offer their virginity or their exclusivity to a man, okay? Not many people, if anyone, has touched me in this village. And the man would come with his mules or his money, and they would trade off into a relationship based on business. And then all the way up to about the 1960s and 50s, it used to be the women were the caretakers. They would have the kids. They would be the nurturers. They would look after the house. The men would go out, grind, and make the money. It's very new and recent that we taught this whole, well, relationships should be based on love and feelings. And that's because now women can make their own money, men can make their own money, so we don't necessarily need each other. But my thing is this: you cannot base a relationship on love, because the opposite of love is what? Hate. Okay? And just like love makes you do dumb things that you would never do, like overlook red flags or keep yourself in bad situations, hate makes you do dumb things you would never do, like beat the crap out of or possibly kill somebody. And all three of these situations are a perfect example of what happens when you lead with your emotions, aka love, instead of leading with business. So let's talk about Jinnkidd first. Alright, so if you don't know who Jinnkidd is, he has a pretty big following on YouTube, about 170,000 subscribers, and he has about 75,000 subscribers on TikTok. Alright, so he's a big social media presence. Apparently, he's having problems with his wife, Anna, okay? Apparently, he's been stalking her, allegedly, since October 18th. And late last week, okay, before the murder happened, he vandalized their apartment and installed an app on her daughter's iPad that allowed him to monitor the activity that was going on in their apartment. Okay, now, allegedly, these two were supposed to be getting ready to end their marriage, but unfortunately, he ended her life before they got to that point, because whatever app he installed on his daughter's iPad, he was listening to it, and apparently he heard her and one of her friends who she was allegedly having an affair with. Well, now we know she was having an affair because he heard it. He went, flipped his handle, went over there, shot the dude 3 times, and then shot her in the forehead. He then took his daughter and he ran down the road. The cops eventually called him, and now he's being held without bond. Now, this goes back to what I tell you guys all the time. Your only and best option as a man is to leave. Walk away. Guys, if this lady was cheating on him, this man has 170,000 subscribers on YouTube. He has 75,000 subscribers on TikTok. There would be no reason for him to stay in this situation. He's clearly fine financially. He's not going to have a problem getting another girl. So why would he be so upset and so angry that instead of just leaving the situation, he kills her and he kills the dude that she's messing with? Simple. Because he was in love. He didn't have love for her. He was in love. This is why I tell you guys, you cannot base a relationship around love. It needs to be about business. She broke the business contract. You could have went to court and got broken up. You wouldn't have had to pay alimony. You would not have had to pay child support. Apparently, y'all were splitting anyway. You already got into it and vandalized her apartment and pushed her down anyway, and she didn't even call the cops when you did that. And you install an app and you stalk her until you catch her cheating, just to then go and kill her and the guy. You alright, guys, I told you guys before in a short clip, on my channel, I said if you feel like they're cheating, they are cheating 9 out of 10 times. There was no reason to install the app. You already knew what she was doing. Again, you have all these subscribers. Just move on. But because he's in love, because this isn't a business arrangement, he can't move on. He goes, he kills her. Now he's in jail with no bond until at least January 5th. Now her family has to deal with the fact that she's no longer even on this planet anymore. Now the guy she was having an affair with, his family has to deal with the fact that he's no longer on the planet anymore. Now her daughter has to deal with the fact that her father's about to be in prison, probably for life, because he murdered 2 people. So she doesn't have a daddy. She doesn't have a mommy. Who knows who she's going to be staying with or how her life is going to turn out. This is what happens when you lead with love instead of business. Men cannot be leading with love. This new generation, this new reset of everybody got their own, so you should just pick someone you love. You cannot use love to try to control people. Guys, if we went to work based upon how we feel, right? If we didn't go to work because of responsibility in business, right, and to pay bills and take care of our family, it was just because we loved our job, we would call out 3 days a week, okay? The responsibility in the business is what makes us get up and go to work every day, even when we don't feel like going to work, okay? The responsibility in the business is what used to make marriages and relationships work back in the day. Not the love, the responsibility in the business. The woman had an obligation to her family to take care of the kids in the household. The man had an obligation to his family to take care of the woman and the kids by providing. When you say everybody just do what they want to do because everybody has their own money, when you break that structure and you try to reshred it to love, that's why we have a massive spike in domestic violence issues. That's why if you ask any police in any precinct, they will tell you that their number one cause is domestic violence issues. This is why we have snaps and other things like that. But let's stop talking about Jinnkidd. Now let's move on to Dalvin Cook, who had a very similar situation where he could have walked away as well. Now, Dalvin Cook has been accused by his ex-girlfriend of assaulting her when she came to her place to get her stuff. Now, let me tell you what I meant when I said love makes you do dumb things and there's a thin line between love and hate. Apparently, she came over there. Now, this is her story. And Dalvin Cook and his cousin was there, and she came to get her stuff. And apparently, Dalvin Cook pushed her over a couch and slammed her head onto a table, and she busted her nose and her lip. Then for some reason she goes to take a shower. Now why the hell would you go to take the shower instead of calling the cops, instead of just leaving? What the hell would you go and take a shower for? But for whatever reason she goes and then takes a shower, which reportedly she gets attacked by Dalvin Cook and his cousin again. Okay, and then on her last ditch effort to leave the place, apparently she tried to mace him. He turned it around and maced her, so she had to pull out a gun on him and his cousin and exit out of the building at that point. Okay, that's the story she's telling. Now the story Dalvin Cook is telling is that he was no longer in a relationship with her. She was stalking him, and she came, broke into the apartment, and attacked him and attacked his guests. Okay, now these stories are equally stupid because just like I said about her, why didn't you call the police, Dalvin? Why didn't you and your guest leave? I guess the guest was his cousin again. So why didn't you and your cousin leave? Why didn't you and your cousin just restrain her instead of attack her? Look at this girl's face. Look at this girl. How are you going to justify this? How are you going to justify this? Because my thing is this. It's a civil suit, so Dalvin Cook isn't going to get any jail time. But the court of public opinion is not going to care about that. This is going to affect his money with the NFL. This is going to affect his endorsements. This is a goofy situation. If she broke in your place and attacked you, you should have called the police and restrained her. Now, I tell you guys all the time, a lot of times if women attack you and you call the police, they're still going to arrest you. But here's the thing. You have your cousin right there as a witness. She broke into your place. The case is going to get thrown out, okay? And she probably would have been locked up for assault too. And you would have been good to go. You wouldn't have lost any of your endorsements or anything like that. You would have been in a hole and you would have got out. You would have beat the case. You would have been good to go. Now, like I said, with these pictures of what you did to her and all this different stuff, it looks really bad for Dalvin Cook. And if we look at this message here, all right, now look at this message over here. Apparently, and she submitted this to the courts. We don't know if this is true or not, but apparently he sent her this Instagram message after the altercation saying, I know what I did can't be rewinded, but I just want you to know I'm sorry. I love you so much. There goes that word I told y'all about. Despite you thinking I don't or never did, but I do. Whatever you need, I'm here for. And if you want to go to the police, I respect that and take punishment for what I did. Dalvin, my face is so messed up, I probably won't even get to see my family for Thanksgiving. They're talking like this is regular. Both of them. Toxic as hell. You see how this gets normalized? This man just beat the hell out of you. You should be calling the cops on him. Okay, and he should be blocked, but he's not. He sends you a message and you responded. Y'all talking about how you love each other. He's sitting here talking about and I'm sorry for that, but the situation just got out of hand from jump. Can you come back to me, bruh? Can you come back to me? What the hell is going on over here? What's going on over here? You see how that there's a thin line between love and hate. You done beat somebody this bad and you talking about can you come back to me? And she's responding, bruh. All right, now let's wrap this conversation up and get to the Tyga situation. Tyga was arrested and is facing felony domestic violence charges because he allegedly assaulted his ex-girlfriend. Okay, according to her, she only went public with it because she been emotionally, mentally, and physically abused, and she's not hiding it anymore. And she's saying she's embarrassed and ashamed, but she has to stand up for herself. And get this, listen to this. She says the only reason she even went public with this is because someone spread a false narrative that painted her out to be somebody that she's not. Her intentions were to never go public. What do I keep telling y'all about how toxic relationships are getting normalized? The abuse, running people over, hitting people, busting their windows, putting people in check. It's being normalized. Now this man had to pay a $50,000 bond and he's facing felony domestic assault violence charges. Look at this girl's face. Somebody whooped her ass. We don't know who whooped her ass. We don't know that it was him, but somebody definitely whooped this girl's ass. Guys, listen, this is why I tell you guys all the time, their biggest ability as a man is to walk away. Now, when women act crazy, we all know, I've told you guys before, there was one time a woman put her hands on me. I called the cops on the woman. I went to the court, and you know what the judge said? The judge said, thanks for not hitting her back. And then they said, you can't do that to her, and they let her go. And she just had to do a little bit of community service. But guess what? Tyga's facing felony domestic assault charges. He had to pay $50,000 to get bonded out. Guess what? Dalvin Cook is probably about to lose a whole bunch of endorsement. He's facing a civil lawsuit. He's about to spend a whole bunch of money. Okay? And obviously, Jinnkidd took things way too far because he murdered people. But my point here is, as a man, you don't get to walk away when you make an emotional decision because you was in love with someone and they did something that you cannot control. Relationships are business, and your biggest ability as a man is to be able to walk away. I tell you guys this all the time. You're never going to win in a court of public opinion. You're never going to win an emotional, mental, or physical fight with a woman. Your best way to hurt her and your best way to protect yourself is to just get the hell out of the situation. But you see, when you base a relationship on love and you expect someone to act right, not because you're providing anything for them, not because you're giving them any type of service, but just because you guys love each other, which is usually lust. That's not even love. But either way, both of those things are bad and they lead to domestic violence. That's why we're seeing a massive rise in domestic violence. And that's why we're seeing people normalize when you're in a relationship. Sometimes things happen. Get out of here. These things are not supposed to happen. It should not be normalized. No one should be checking anyone. No one should be putting their hands on anyone. No one should be normalizing popping up on or any of this other crap that goes on in relationships. This is why I tell you guys to love yourself. This is why I tell you guys to put yourself in a position where you can take care of yourself and you love and have love for your partner, but you're not in love with them because you realize being in love is the same thing as having hate, and it's going to make you overlook red flags and make dumb decisions. If you love somebody, you can hate them, guys. I repeat, if you're in love with someone, you can be in hate with them, and things go bad when you get into hate. We need to stop normalizing toxic relationships. We need to get back to this being a business arrangement. We need to get back to people being vetted. We need to stop all this, or we're just going to be together and we're in love and we're going to get together off of this love and we're just going to put our blind faith into the emotion of love that nobody's going to not do anything that they're supposed to do. Because then when the bait and switch happen, and it's going to happen, and it doesn't, girls bait and switch, men bait and switch, but the point is when you're in love with someone, and that's the only thing you're depending on to keep them acting right, when the bait and switch happens, the domestic violence happens. The death happens, the jail happens, people, things, and places get hurt. Alright? It's business. Love yourself. Be able to take care of yourself. Make sure you're picking someone that you properly vetted because you're not in lust. Alright, guys? It's not a game out here. It's not a game. Alright? A bad relationship or the wrong relationship with the wrong person can ruin your life. Take your time, vet the people out, make sure that you love yourself and you can take care of yourself and retain your ability to walk away. I'm Alex and I'm out. Peace.